Gentlemen, you don't have enough talent to win on talent alone.
Hello, and welcome to the Talent Podcast brought to you by The Wheel. I am your host, Adam Hess, and with me, as always, despite being fired, he was just hired as the head coach of the worst franchise in the NFL. It's Mike Regan. Mike, how you doing today?
Fantastic, Adam.
Good to hear. Good to hear. What you been up to today? What you had going on? I see you got your flannel all buttoned all the way up. Like you have business meetings to do. It's your business flannel.
It's cold outside. Got to button the flannel.
Should we do the classic internet guy thing and go, you think that's cold? You see how cold it is here.
Hate people who are like that.
It's -6 degrees when you're standing directly in sunlight.
Or I guess I should say it irks me when people are like, I used to live wherever, and so I have somehow changed how the human body works, and I don't get cold.
Yeah.
Like, that's not how it works, buddy.
Yeah, I remember my family asked me that. They were like, so do you still feel like you're as cold now in Chicago winter as you were your first winter there? And I go, no, but it's not like I've changed. I just figured out that I have to wear like gloves and a hoodie under my jacket.
Yeah.
Like I didn't go through some kind of like metamorphosis and come out on the other side impervious to the cold. It's just like after a winter of not being able to feel my fingers and freezing to death, I just went, what if I wear clothes? Would that solve this problem? The spots that are cold, I'm going to put cloth there.
I'm going to cover my skin from the weather.
And that's why all day now I either wear sweaters or this really cool denim jacket. You like that I'm a denim jacket guy now, Mike? Have you enjoyed this evolution?
You pulled off. Not a lot of people can pull off the DJ denim jacket.
The DC. The denim kakik.
Yeah.
Well, Mike, contrary to popular belief, we are not, in fact, a denim jacket podcast, despite the fact that one of us is wearing a denim jacket. We are a football podcast. Football. That is American football, not European football, or as they call it there, football. You know, I think that if someone watched this podcast and they said, what sets you apart from other sports podcasts? I would say my goal on this podcast isn't to talk about sports. It's simply to get a reaction out of Mike.
I think our podcast is meant to tickle the mind.
Thank you for saying mind. I didn't know. After you said tickle, I did not know what the last word was going to be there. Our podcast
Really
goal is to tickle the gooch. You know, if we crank a lot of bass into this podcast from now on, like both of us talk with like a bassier voice, and I really boost the bass in the edit, we could tickle some stuff.
You tickle some stuff?
Is this bassy, or am I just talking a little different?
It's like that scene in Private Parts.
That's
the Howard Stern movie.
Didn't see it.
Oh, okay. There's a scene where a girl.
Not a big Stern guy.
Never mind.
Not a big Stern guy.
I like that movie.
Stern guy. You should watch Stern. I'm sure it's just like the movie.
Yeah, I mean, it's like that like genre of radio never really appealed to me.
Shock jockery.
Yeah.
Let's have a porn star on and see how many hot dogs she can eat kind of thing.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure I stole that directly from one Howard Stern.
Oh, they also make a joke about it in an episode of Family Guy.
Did they really?
Yeah, when Stewie and Brian start a radio show.
Do you think Howard Stern and David Stern are related?
I don't think so. But they do
No.
kind of have pointy faces. Is David Stern dead?
Yeah.
Is he the one that died?
Dead for a while, brother.
Yeah.
He's been dead for years.
He is.
I mean, he has to die. Otherwise, how would Adam Silver be able to sustain immortal life?
Well, that's how he died. Adam Silver drank too much blood at once.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. What we're getting at here is that Adam Silver is, in fact, an actual vampire.
A legit shoot vampire.
Yeah.
We're not making a joke. We're
not
100% claiming that he is a vampire.
Not one of those working vampires. Like Tom Cruise and Brad Pitt.
Robert Pattinson.
Oh, good call. Good third working vampire. I didn't have a third one. Wesley Snipes. That's an easy one. I don't know why I didn't go with that.
Even though I feel like Adam Gliffer's skin probably does sparkle in the sunlight.
Adam who?
Silver.
Who did you initially say?
I said Adam Silver.
I'm pretty sure you said Clifford.
No, I said Adam Silver.
All right. Well, I'm not going to argue about it because, Mike, I want to talk about football. Let's talk about football. Mike, the NFL is not what we're talking about.
Let's talk about Tickle and the Gooch instead. Let's go back to that.
Yeah. Well, you don't have nearly enough bass in your voice right now. So I don't know what the fuck we're supposed to be doing here.
Put some bass in your voice.
I accidentally just pushed a crumb inside of my keyboard. Hopefully that doesn't shut down the podcast in about 40 minutes.
Gross.
Yeah. Anyways, Mike, let's talk about football. Let's talk about college football. How about that, Mike? You love college football. You're so in love with college football, you should marry it.
It's the best.
Which isn't legal in your current home state of Virginia, which, as we know, does not legalize any marriage unless it's between two white Christians.
Hell yeah, brother.
Mike, why are you typing on your phone like you're in your mid-50s?
I wasn't. I was checking notifications real fast.
But why'd you like hunted back? You were holding it with your left hand and tapping it with your right. Like you're a 61-year-old woman.
I'm doing one of these. Backstage open Discord on my phone. No, God, no. All right. Anyway.
Oh, no, and second, Mike has joined the chat.
One of us must die.
Mike, can we please start talking about college football? I'm so worried that if I don't start us on this, we're going to end up off on another tangent talking about David Stern's face.
Football.
Mike, Dabo Sweeney of the loser Clemson Tigers calls out Ole Miss for tampering.
Yeah.
In the process of trying to get a linebacker who had previously committed from Ole Miss, or from Clemson to switch to Ole Miss.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I guess he didn't even commit. He had signed his NIL deal. I actually didn't write down the name of the linebacker. Do you have that in front of you?
Luke Farelli.
I think he's on the Italian national hockey team for the Olympics.
He is actually dual sport athlete.
Mike, what I want you to do is, first off, if you can give us the summary of what exactly has happened up to this point in, let's say, less than 500-ish words.
Mm-hmm.
And then explain to me why this matters. Why should I care? Why should I even get out of bed in the morning when I see the story?
So, Luke Farelli transferred from California to Clemson.
Wait, slow down. I'm trying to count how many words you're saying.
And he didn't just, commit. He moved there. He signed his financial aid paperwork. He enrolled in school. He was taking classes. He was going to workouts with teams. He was as there as you could be.
And signed an NIL deal, which is important.
Yeah. When all of a sudden Clemson came a-calling, and basically Ole Miss, basically tampered with him. And Dabo he didn't just have receipts. He had everything, timestamps, conversations, everything. Because he was made aware that Ole Miss was reaching out, and he told someone you need to get a hold of their GM, whoever it is, and let them know that we know what's going on, and they need to stop, or else, we're going to report them. They didn't listen. Pete Golding, according to Dabo, the head coach of Ole Miss, texted Luke Farelli, the player, while Luke was in his 8 a.m. class, and said, "I know you already signed, but what's the buyout?" So. It's pretty damning evidence that there was tampering going on here.
Jesus. Is this guy the next Carson Schweitzinger? Why would you be texting this kid at 8 a.m. over this?
I don't know. So it keeps going on. And throughout the process, if you find Dabo's presser, it's really good because he just goes into detail, step by step of the whole timeline of events. It's pretty good. But they're in contact with him. There's communication going on with him and his agent and everything. And they're like, no, he's not going where he wants to stay. But then it got to the point where Dabo had heard that they had told him that Ole Miss kept contacting him, and they upped their offer. Oh, that was the other thing. Apparently, at one point, Golding sent him a picture of $1 million check or something. But then at one point, they upped their offer and told him.
Or did he just have a check that he wrote $1 million on?
I don't know. They were Ole Miss upped their offer to 2 years, $2 million, and Dabo was like, all right, you guys, I need you to send me everything you have on the situation and everything they've been saying so we can report this. And at that point, the agent decided to go in for the kill, and was like, I can't do that because I don't want to burn bridges. But if you change his contract to 2 years for $1 million, then we'll send it all to you. And Dabo obviously was like, no, I'm not doing that. And then they were like still under the assumption that he was staying, and then all of a sudden Dabo said he got back to his office one day at like 4:15, and one of his dudes on his staff is like, "Hey, Luke's in the compliance office right now trying to fill out his paperwork to enter the transfer portal." And Dabo called him, and the kid didn't answer, which tells you what was happening. It was too late. And then he said that him and the other guy that he keeps mentioning that works for that football program went to the kid's apartment, and apparently he was in his driveway when they got there, and he just looked at him and said, "I'm going to Ole Miss," and that was it. And so Dabo isn't pissed at like the kid, obviously. You know, if you don't want to play for us, you don't want to play for us. There's no upside to trying to force someone. He's pissed that like Ole Miss blatantly tampered. And the thing about tampering, why this situation stands out, to answer the second part of your question, is that coaches bitch about tampering. They make comments about tampering in general. They make like vague comments. They're like, that could have been directed. They don't like outright call someone out for it. Why? Because they're all doing some level of tampering, you know? Well, Ole Miss's mistake was they went after like the one dude who could probably say, yeah, we don't do that because he hates the transfer portal.
That's a good point. Like,
Yeah.
they went out after the one guy who's like publicly out there telling everyone how college football used to be better. God darn it.
Yeah.
And it's because of stuff like this with the transfer portal and NIL. And so, of course, as soon as you're trying to put Dabo's feet to the fire and being like, well, if he changes his deal to match this, he's going to be like, no, fuck you. I don't even want to be paying out NIL money to anyone.
Right. So they went out. They messed with the wrong dude. Dabo doesn't give any shits about this. So he did. He reported Ole Miss to the NCAA and called him out publicly and went on record. And that like we haven't really seen that because, like I said, other schools, even if it's some level of tampering, even if like it's the entry levels of tampering, where what you do is like if there's a player that you were trying to recruit either out of high school or the transfer portal and he signs somewhere else, someone is still like keeping in contact with them, right? Like you'll slide into their DMs during the season, just be all friendly or text them, be like, hey, just want to see how things are going. You know, keep line of communication open. Hopefully they eventually say something about how they don't like where they're at, and then you can, you know, that's like tampering foreplay, that kind of stuff. But this obviously went like all the way to the point where Pete Golding's like, what's the buyout in your contract? And I didn't think there was a buyout in the contract. So
yeah, and I believe no, never mind. I was thinking of a different story, so I'm not going to say that out loud because then I would sound dumb. I'm trying to find a list because I saw in an article on this that last year the NCAA received 90 complaints of tampering.
And they did fuck all about it.
Yeah, exactly. None of them were either A, as public as this, and B, like the actual level of enforcement or punishment on the other end is behind lock and key, so we have no idea what sanctions were levied against schools who were tampering. Like, obviously, in the NFL, you can take away draft picks from someone who tampers, or you can fine ownership or hit the team's salary cap with a penalty or something like that. What would you even do in college? Because NIL money isn't like, there's no salary cap on NIL money. It's just that, you know, Texas Tech has a billionaire oil mogul who just really fucking loves college football, so they can afford millions and millions of dollars in NIL deals, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
I don't know. Like, what do you do?
So, unfortunately, I don't think anything comes of it. And if something is to come out of it and there's some kind of punishment towards Ole Miss, it's the NCAA, so it will happen like a year after. It'll take forever. I mean, it could be something like a fine to the school. I mean, in the new era of rev share, I wonder if they would ever dock a school how much rev share they can spend on players and dock that cap. Or like maybe Pete Golding, since he is so blatantly involved in it, they smack him with like a suspension for a game or two. That could be like the extent of what could happen, I think, but I don't even know if anything will happen. But it's like if more coaches start coming out this detailed with evidence and loudly about it, maybe something can change. But like I said, how many coaches are going to do it? It's the same reason why, like, when Michigan got caught sign stealing, no coach or anybody from another program commented on it on the record because they knew they couldn't say anything because they were doing some kind of sign stealing as well. just not as egregiously to that level.
So here's my question. Are we worried that this is going to hurt Pete Golding's ability to be a first ballot Hall of Famer? Is this going to be what tears him down? This is going to stop him?
That could be it. Now, Pete Golding, if the NCAA was like, hey, you're in trouble for tampering, he'd be like, all right, well, let me give you a list of people you need to call who've screwed me over this year. It starts with Lane Kiffin, who's rating my roster every day.
Yeah, that's also kind of the problem that I've been seeing the speculation on, is that this is a Jenga tower.
Yeah.
And the question is, did Dabo just take a piece from the top that's not going to cause the whole thing to fall, or did he just take a base piece and now we're 6 months away from the NCAA dealing with 2,500 tampering complaints from D1 schools?
Right.
Because like you said, like if the NCAA really comes down hard on Pete Golding or Ole Miss, then what's stopping Ole Miss from going, hey, by the way, you know that LSU and University of Texas and the real USC in South Carolina all tampered with players on my roster and had them transfer over there this year too. Here's the evidence. Here's receipts. Here's emails. Mm-hmm. And they go to those schools, and those schools go, well, let me tell you about Washington and Baylor and whatever.
Right, and the NCAA doesn't want to deal with that.
Is the NCAA run by like 3 guys sharing one pin in a conference room somewhere?
I think so. Sometimes I've wondered if you open the door to their head office, it's just a bunch of like chimpanzees in suits.
Yeah, like I have famously, as brought up on the previous podcast, have decided to rewatch all the Marvel movies in 1 month because I don't want to pay for 2 months of Disney Plus. And there's a scene in Infinity War, or there's a whole plot line in Infinity War where Thanos sends out like his lackeys to go get the Infinity Stones from Earth, and they just get their asses kicked. And I'm like, well, why didn't Thanos just go do it? Like, is the entire NCAA built out of Thanos' lackeys? Like, it's the other guys just being like sitting on their balls and getting beat up by Captain America, and then going, wait, but like, why didn't the big guy come do anything? Why didn't anyone else step in? Why was it just these fucking people?
I mean, in recent times, the NCAA has just been so reactionary to everything. Like, they're not ahead of the game on any issues, and they're just forced to react to it, and they usually don't react to it in the best way. Or the other thing is they're just concerned about the bottom line. Mm-hmm. So, is opening the tampering can of worms, or kicking over that anthill worth it? Because is it really affecting the money we make? So maybe we just let the coaches keep bitching about it. So I mean, it will take a lot of big programs to come out and start complaining and saying you need to do something. What it will take is, for any kind of change with the issues that are going on right now that people complain about, it will take not just heads of big programs, but the commissioners of conferences to come out and say you need to change this now.
So, coming off that, I have one thought that I want to pitch to you. If we ever get big enough, if we ever have a big enough base to where we can spin off our own college football show featuring you and, by God, anyone that isn't me, should the name be Illegal Tampering? Is that a good enough name? Is there a better name you can think of?
Legal tampering?
Illegal Tampering.
I like legal tampering. It's better.
Well, is there any legal tampering? What about the transfer portal?
The NFL literally has a legal tampering window, right?
What if? But we're talking about a college football podcast here, Mike.
Oh, okay.
What if we get you paired up with a guy named Travis and we call it the Travis Portal?
The Travis Portal.
Yeah.
Or, never mind.
Okay. Anyways, Mike, the next massive scandal shaking the roots of college football right now is the Darian Mensah situation. Darian Mensah, who signed an NIL deal that expires December 31st of this year, and then, went to Duke, or he signed it with Duke, and then went to Duke and said, hey, I'm transferring to Miami. And Duke sued his ass right into the courts, North Carolina, to freeze his transfer. He was allowed to enter the transfer portal. He, however, was not allowed to. I believe that the technicality they caught him up on is he could not sign his name, image, and likeness to a new school. So if he went somewhere else, he could not receive any NIL money until this was satisfied. But maybe it was just that he could enter the transfer portal but wasn't legally allowed to transfer until the lawsuit was resolved. The first judge who sat on the bench for this had to recuse himself because he is a Duke booster.
It's amazing.
Mike, and finally, this gets resolved. They settle out of court. We're not sure exactly what it was, but the speculation is that Mintz's deal was worth around $4 million at Duke, so it was probably something in that neighborhood, maybe paid out by Miami. But, Mike, I want to know, why is this such a big deal? Why is this shaking the foundation of college? And how can a college sue its own player for trying to leave when every player is always leaving their current college?
So, this is another kind of like a first this year that we've been seeing. We saw it with the DeMond Williams situation in Washington, and why it's different is because now we're dealing with rev share contracts.
Okay.
Between the school and the players, and not these NIL deals. So that's why these are starting to sprout up, where schools are suing their own players, and it gets complicated with, like in this situation, we don't know what the number was. They must have settled on something to say, okay, you can go. I know in like the DeMond Williams situation.
Can you give like real quick, just 200 words? What was the DeMond Williams situation?
So DeMond Williams, out of the blue, a Washington quarterback decided, hey, I'm going to enter the transfer portal. It was rumored that LSU was the one who wanted him. Washington was like, dude, you just signed a contract. No. And so that started to go to court. I don't believe they directly sued DeMond Williams, the player, but they started filing a court case, and then eventually it all just got squashed, and DeMond said, yeah, I'm going to go back to Washington.
Okay.
In that situation, I heard that part of what the problem was is that if he was to go, the school, for example, let's say LSU that took him, would have to pay Washington like $4 million. But from what I heard someone say that, to their understanding, that $4 million would come off of LSU's rev share for next year. But I haven't heard anything like that for the Mensa situation. So
yeah, the Mensa thing, I read like 4 articles trying to find that same thing. I wanted to find the number, right?
It's any number is impossible to find in these things. It's so hard.
And it seems like no one has the answer to even what the settlement was, because the case was settled out of court. Now the question is, was money involved? How much money was involved? And where did the money come from?
And where did the money go? Follow the money. But the Mensa one was interesting because his contract said, like, people are thinking like, oh, in the contract, there's probably just like a number. This is a buyout. Pay this much to us. A lot of them don't for these players' rev share contracts. And like the Mensa one just said that there was no number. It would just say that it would cause irreparable damage to the school or to the program.
Yeah.
What's irreparable damage? What's the number for that? Because for example, like you look at coach contracts, and further buyouts, like if another school hired the coach, you got to pay that other school so much money. It says in there, like, if they want to buy you out to go somewhere else, you have to pay X amount of money. And then those contracts for legal purposes even go farther to say you have to pay this much, and here's why we value it at that much. Because you couldn't write in a contract, the other school would have to pay us $1 billion. Then obviously courts would get involved for that being an unrealistic number. But
I like how because of the conversation, you couldn't just do the actual quote where he says $1 million. And they go, right, that's not that much money anymore.
That's not really much in the world of college football contracts.
Yeah, because that one would actually be believable. Like if they said you'll owe us $1 million, everyone would be like, yeah, sure, we'll just pay the $1 million, whatever.
Yeah. So the Mensa thing is now, that beef's now squashed. He immediately ended up saying, yes, I am going to Miami. Shocker. But we've now had 2 schools have to go legal on their own players' asses over them trying to break contracts. And so it's just that, along with like the tampering thing, it just adds to the frustration with people, and that we've instituted all these things into the sport with the buzzword is guardrails. We need guardrails. There are no guardrails. We just need some kind of like rules and regulations. And what a lot of people say is like, hey, we just need a CBA. We need all the players negotiate. We need a CBA.
My way of thinking about this is, I understand that college football is trying to go a very American professional sports direction with this. We need a CBA. We need these conversations in hand. I think we just need the infrastructure for how to negotiate with other schools to take their players and pay out a payment for doing that.
Mm-hmm.
And it needs to be a situation where players have freedom of transfer during these periods. There's no, we're going to sue our players for transferring, nothing like that. Like, I think the model for this, and somewhere, Vampire Adam Silver is about to pop a stiffy, is European football, who has transfers, and they have loans, and they have buyouts. And that's more like what college football is dealing with right now. But instead of transferring from league to league, it's transferring from team to team. So I think that we need to, or that college football should think about this less of, how do we make this loop closer to the NFL? And they should think, how do we make this loop closer to the only other sport that has a transfer portal? European football.
Look at that. Yeah. That would be a bad idea.
Yeah.
That'd be bad. A lot of people feel like issues aren't going to get solved until you just make the players employees, but I don't think that is never going to happen, because that will affect how much money the NCAA and these schools make way too much. Even though there are some coaches that are so frustrated by things right now that they're like, just make them employees because it makes my life easier. But no, I don't think that's ever going to happen.
Yeah.
And obviously there needs to be some kind of CBA. There should be some sort of like players union, just like there is in pro sports, like I mentioned. So we can like negotiate these things. I don't know. And any change that they try to do is always going to end up in court. That's the frustrating part. I mean, even like a big reason why I think we're in a mess in some of these things is the transfer portal, because the portal started. It was like, okay, everybody gets one free transfer. And then eventually someone was like, I'm going to court because I want more. And sure enough, it made the NCAA go, all right, we don't want to pay any more lawyers. Transfer as much as you want, everybody.
Yeah, it's like they've built a house of cards out of individual decisions that they didn't realize were related, right? Like the transfer portal on its own makes sense. NIL money on its own makes sense. Rev share contracts on their own makes sense. But when all those things combined, you just have these players, especially the players that are either A, bubble draft players, or B, non-NFL bound players. Like if you are a player and you are aware that you are never going to be a 12, 15-year NFL starter, it makes the most sense to milk as much money out of your 5, maybe 6 years of eligibility that you can in college. Mm-hmm. So if you're someone like Darian Mensah, who, call me crazy, I don't think is a future MVP of the NFL.
He was like one of the best quarterbacks in college football this year.
So I had never heard of him before this situation.
Right.
So I was I was like reading up on him on like PFF and on 247, and he's a 3-star recruit. And PFF has not at any point had him listed as not PFF. The Athletic has not at any point listed him as a highly touted draft prospect in their.
Yeah, I mean, I probably mentioned him to you a couple times because he went to Tulane the year before.
Yeah, I also saw that, and I was like, Mike must have brought this guy up before. But
yeah,
I have my doubts that Darian Mensah is going to be an NFL MVP one day.
That's fair.
And so if you're Darian Mensah, two things make sense. One, either boosting your stock by moving from a poverty NFL or poverty college program like Duke. Name one Duke quarterback who's ever played the NFL. To a
wait. You should have said name one Duke QB who has both his Achilles.
Ooh.
Suck it, DJ.
So it makes sense for him to move to a highly touted, perhaps a program that just came up as second best in the nation, to either boost his bubble draft stock, move yourself from being a day 5 or day 3 pick to being a day 2 pick, or just make a shitload of money by moving to the programs that have like tons of NIL and rev share money to throw around.
Yeah.
So like all of these things built into one pot is where I think you get into the issues. Where like if players were just transferring, why the fuck would anyone transfer from, say, Ohio State to Tulane? Sorry to shit on Tulane. But Ohio State to Tulane. You're decreasing your chances of winning a national championship. But with NIL and with rev share, it makes sense to go to the place that's just offering you the most money if you're not going to be the next Pat Surtain.
Yeah, and I mean, with rev share, it does give programs at least a spot at the table for some of the bigger name players, because if you decide you want to invest a larger portion of that $20 million and offer a massive contract that other schools aren't going to beat. You can, if you want to invest that, you can. You have the money now at least, but well, you may have the money. You have to remember it's rev share, so it's revenue. So, but anyway, I'm going off.
Not the reference.
Anyway, yeah. No, so I get it. I don't blame anybody for trying to secure the bag. I think there should be a way to get to where stuff like this can happen without there being like an icky taste in everybody's mouth.
Yeah.
Afterwards.
Yeah, like I feel like it almost just needs to be like we need to accept that players are going to transfer from college football programs every year and start to treat it that way instead of being like, no, you said you were going to be here, so you need to be here, which is where the icky taste comes from. It feels like people are breaking their word, which I guess, to be fair, they are. But I think like the future of college football should be based around the transfer portal's real. The transfer portal affects everyone. Let's stop acting like there's a reason for players not to transfer.
And I get it. I do think that there should be a little more stringency on how many times you can transfer.
Nah, transfer as much as you want. Transfer every day. 6 times a day. Who fucking cares?
After week 2, I don't like it
here. Here's my counter to that, right? If you are in a highly specialized field, say that you are a so I have a buddy who's working on natural language processes and advanced mathematics for computer systems. Basically the next step of how we turn ChatGPT 5.0 into ChatGPT 5.2, right? That's a highly sought after skill. So if he starts working with a company and decides 2 weeks later, this other company, they're going to let me work fully from home and they're going to pay me a little bit more, I'm going to go switch to them. He has the right to do that. These players similarly have a highly specialized skill. I mean, especially when you're talking about these Darian Minsas, who Mike think is the next Tom Brady. When you're talking about the next Tom Brady, like he has a highly specialized skill that's sought after. Why shouldn't he have the freedom to go make the most money he can after it, or take whatever opportunity he wants because that skill's desirable? We shouldn't be locking him into one place and saying, well, you got to be here because you already went from one place to another, so you can't do it again.
Yeah. And I guess there is something to say, like, let them bounce around as much as they want now, because the players that are going to the NFL, once they get there, they're not going to have as much freedom once they sign a contract with an NFL team. Which
is also kind of bullshit, but that's a whole different thing. Like the draft's bullshit, but we can't talk about that because the draft's really fun to talk about, so we can't shut down the draft.
Right.
Mike, while we're staying in college football corner, now that we've solved the transfer portal, another thing that you pointed out that you want to talk about here was the 2026 college football playoff format, which, as far as I can tell, is the same as the 2025. So what did you want to talk about here?
Not so fast, my friend. It's very different. So luckily they did not expand. We're staying at 12, thank God. My main reason being, like, one, I don't think we need to go to any more teams. We need to be realistic about how many teams every year could actually win a national title, and there's no way that we should consider more than 12. In my opinion, you really have to sell yourself on, these 12 teams go win a national title. Really not that many of your point being. Also, we just expanded to 12. We're only 2 years into it. Let's let that marinate. Let's work all the kinks of the 12 teamer out before we even look at expanding. The changes came with the auto bid situation. So there will be no more. Now all Power 4 conferences, their champ is automatically in. Previously, It was the top 4 ranked conference winners got in, which is how we ended up last year with ACC champion Duke getting left out because they were a 5-loss conference champion. So that won't happen anymore. So the Power 4 conferences won't, ACC's not in green anymore. And then there'll be one spot for the group of now 6, highest ranked group of 6 champion, because the Pac-12 is coming back this year, baby. Don't forget. And the thing that has people all pissed off is that if Notre Dame finishes ranked 12 or higher, they are in. They cannot get bumped by a conference champ.
Is that specifically laid out that if Notre Dame is 12 or higher, they can't get bumped out?
Yep. And people were pissed.
So I want to touch on 2 things here real quick before we move on. First off, forgot to mention this during the last segment. Duke plays at Miami on November 14th.
Oh yeah, it's gonna be awesome.
Yeah. Too bad it's not the other way around. That'd be more fun if it was Miami at Duke and Mensa was getting booed. But the other thing, real quick, can you just rattle off who's going to be in the Pac-12 next year?
Washington State, Oregon State, and I think a bunch of Midwest MWC schools, and I know they rated a couple of the other G5 conferences to fill it out.
Let's see.
I think North Texas? Or are they staying in the American? I can't remember.
Dallas Baptist University. Northern Illinois University. Southern Utah University. Is that it? Oh, future members.
No way.
Hold on. Here we go. Sorry, I was reading off the wrong list. Here we go.
Okay.
Boise State.
Oh, okay.
California State, University of Fresno.
Yep.
Colorado State. Gonzaga. Gonzaga got a football program? Since when?
Oh, it's for non-football sports.
Got it. San Diego State, Texas State, and Utah State.
A lot of states. It's the state conference.
It's the state conference.
It is. They're all schools that end in state.
Yeah, so Gonzaga, off that list I read, Gonzaga is the only future non-football member.
Okay, yeah. Oh, well, good news for the Mountain West. Someone else besides Boise can finally win the fucking thing, even though they didn't win it this past year. That's not the point.
But okay, back to the playoff format. Mm-hmm. Okay, so let me just recap here. Make sure I'm above board on this. The Power 4 conference winners get an auto bid, but they don't automatically get the top 4 seeds, correct?
No,
so they don't get the bye.
That was the big thing people didn't like about the first year of the 12 that they changed.
Okay. Then after that, it's what? Who else makes it? Just the rest are whoever the top ranked teams are up through 12?
So it would be the highest group of 6 champion also gets a bid.
Okay. So
basically just
the Power
like
4
years,
winners, even if one of the Power 4 is ranked 23rd, right? They get in.
Correct. Yeah. So at that point, we're still at.
I'm going through the fucking list here real quick.
Okay.
The highest ranked group of 6 champion. That's your 5th member.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to count this right now just because this makes it easier on me. Notre Dame, if they are ranked in the top 12.
Yes.
Where do the other 4 members come from?
You mean the other 6 members?
Where do the other 6 members come from? I ran out of fingers. All right.
You use your fingers and everything, and then you got the math.
I ran out of fingers.
Let me count this out. It makes it easier. It would then be like based on the highest teams in the rankings, just like before.
Okay, so like if the like number 3 ranked team loses in their conference championship, they would still make the playoff.
Yeah, because they're
Got
it. It's not a big change. Like we still have, it's still the top 5 conference winners. It's just that now it's guaranteed to be 4 of them will be powered 4, and then you have one group of 6, so we don't have to watch James Madison in a playoff game again.
So let me ask you this. Outside of the Notre Dame thing, fast forward me to December 2026. Duke's already beat Miami 31-21 in a game that everyone's upset about because of some kind of call. Darian Mensah has retired from football because he believed in himself as the next Tom Brady until he heard this podcast. It's December 2026.
Yeah.
What are people pissed about with the playoffs? What is upsetting the college football viewing population?
That's a good question. What will people be pissed about?
And it can't be Notre Dame. I'm saying the one thing it can't be is Notre Dame.
Okay.
No, we'll say Notre Dame. Notre Dame's ranked 4th, so it doesn't matter.
There will still be SEC people pissed off at teams that didn't get in, that were like 3-loss teams or something, and they feel like they should because they still think the SEC is like way better of a conference than everybody else. And don't get me wrong, they're better. They're not better than the Big Ten though. Like the sport's flattening, so they don't have the power that they once had because they can't stockpile talent the way they could anymore. But yeah, there'll probably be those people complaining and saying we need expansion. People will still point out, why is there a G6 team in there? But you got to keep everybody happy, I guess.
Is there anything else you could think of that's going to be upsetting people from this playoff structure? So people are going to be upset about the G6 team, even though there's only one of them. People are going to be upset. The SEC people are going to be upset. What else? What else is in this pot of people are going to be complaining and demanding a change because of X?
I mean, the other changes I could think of that off the top of my head that people will probably comment on again is still going to be the length of it.
Mm-hmm.
Like I think the national championship game might not be until January 20th next year. Like something crazy. He keeps extending out farther and farther.
Didn't Trump just institute some rule about how you can't do something on some day that's going to affect college football?
Oh, he's going to do an executive order to block out that window for Army, Navy.
That's right.
And not let them try to put something else on at the same time.
And now, how would he enforce his executive order? Stamping his little feet, shaking his little hands.
Nothing else. No other games can be played. I have no idea how he's going to do it, but it makes him feel like a big man whenever he signs an executive order.
Man, any day now. If someone could just like run him over with a train, that'd be great. Great. Now we just lost all of our college football followers. Feels like a Trumpy sport, right? College football feels like a Trump-centric fan base.
Well, that's part of the NCAA. When it comes to whatever they're going to change to fix some of the problems with the player movement, has to realize Congress isn't going to step in and save them. They keep thinking that's going to happen with the current regime. It's not going to happen. Yeah. You got to fix your problems yourself now, boys. Sorry.
So, Mike, with this college football format change, do you like these changes? Do you dislike these changes? Would you recommend other sports take up these changes? Would you say the NBA should only let the power divisions into the playoffs?
I like the changes because we stayed at 12. There was a lot of talk of 14.
I don't know if you know how changes work. Staying at 12 is not a change.
I'm fine with making sure all Power 4 schools get in and it goes to only one G6 team. I'm cool with that. The Notre Dame thing, obviously, as a Notre Dame fan, I'm cool. I heard a lot of people bitch. A lot of people whose opinion on the sport I respect didn't like bitch about it. They would just be like, yeah, it kind of seems like kind of crazy, but like, come on, like they get it's understandable why it was done, which it is. Not like, oh my god, like every time they bring up college football on First Take and Stephen A starts talking, all I hear is like the donkey noise, like and then like Cam Newton was on there with he has a mustache to go with his crazy hats now. Have you seen this?
No, I haven't seen this. I don't know what he's doing with his mustache. You tell me what he said.
It looks like he's like really getting ready to rob like a bank in 1920s or like tie someone to a railroad track. He went on a rant about how like Notre Dame's not relevant. When was the last time they were relevant? And then like of all people, the host of the show was like, they were in the national championship game last year.
Yeah.
He's like, it doesn't matter.
That's like my running joke because I keep saying that Notre Dame hasn't won a national championship ever.
Right.
Because they haven't won once it's a playoff and that upsets you.
Yeah, and
Mike, if I can summarize what Cam Newton looks like now to people who have not Googled him recently, he looks like if Johnny Depp was doing blackface.
Oh, that's perfect.
Yeah,
he's Black Sparrow.
He's Black Sparrow. That's so good. Can we just rename the podcast to the Black Sparrow Podcast? That's so good.
Sure.
Mike, any more thoughts on the college football playoff format?
Last thing is, and this should get people to stop bitching about because everybody's like, Notre Dame is joint conference. Because no, they don't need to, and they would be dumb to do it from a dollars and cents standpoint. Mm-hmm. So don't worry. They're changing it. Before, in the last 2 years, all the money schools were making who made the playoffs went to each round, made more money. It went directly to the schools. Now, apparently, there's going to be a revenue split for the teams that make the college football championship playoffs.
Sure.
So
doesn't affect my life at all. Couldn't give a shit about how much money teams get from making the playoff.
Yeah, I find this stuff I find a way I find like the under the hood stuff about college football interesting. Like the transfer portal drama, the tampering, the contracts. That's not the most fun stuff to talk about, but I find it really interesting.
It's interesting. The contracts.
Mike,
the last thing that we have to talk about here from college football is that Ohio State has hired NFL award-winning head coach Arthur Smith. I'm not sure what he won an award for. I'm guessing an Oscar? Was he in The Pianist? Was that him? It's either him or Adrian Brody. I can never remember. Mike, here's what I want to know about this. So you outlined the question when you put this on the rundown, where you said why we will continue to see more NFL coaches come to college. That's not my question for this. My question for this is why do we keep seeing failed NFL coaches go to Ohio State?
Well, I mean, it worked last year. Matt Patricia called one a hell of a defense.
But did it? Where's Matt Patricia head coach at now?
I mean, I think that's part of the allure. And I mean, it worked for Chip Kelly,
It
even
worked
though
for Chip Kelly.
he went college pro college, but like things weren't looking good in college before he went to Ohio State. The UCLA
Yeah.
run was a disaster. He gets paid what at the time was rumored to be like one of the the top paid offensive coordinator in the country, wins a natty, and then all of a sudden Tom Brady and bowl cut boy in Vegas were like, here, we'll pay you to come back in the NFL, and that lasted not even a full season.
No.
No, but I think so. Part of it is like, hey, come here, you're gonna get paid really well, maybe not quite as much as if you were like a top OC in the show, but you're gonna get paid really good money, and like you can rehab your image.
Yeah. So, what I think is interesting about this, right, is kind of the Ryan Day of this all.
Mm-hmm.
Ryan Day, who so far has expressed zero interest in entering the NFL, but attracts these NFL talent coordinators, or NFL history coordinators, I don't want to call Matt Patricia a talent anything, to come coach for him at Ohio State. I don't know, like, is Ryan Day a step ahead of everyone? Is he bringing in these NFL people to give the institution more of a college or more of an NFL vibe? Does he think that there's an evolution of the game in the NFL that's not happening in the college ranks, that he can get an edge on it? Why is Ryan Day, a guy who is uninterested in moving to the NFL, so has no reason to need to make connections with the NFL, bringing in NFL guys instead of the opposite? Why are these NFL guys flocking to Day?
I think I don't know if I'd say he's ahead. Like, I think he's cognizant of how the play calling of each have gotten more, not a lot, but there's some college aspects that have made their way into the pro game, and there's some pro concepts that people are instituting in, the college game, and you see that. And if you bring in a guy, why it works is you're bringing in someone obviously who's very good at what they do, and it's a sweet gig for them because he can go to a Matt Patricia, Chip Kelly, Arthur Smith. Sorry.
I like how you take Chip Kelly's name with such reverence. You're like, he can go to a Chip Kelly. Then as soon as you have to say Arthur Smith, you're like, ugh.
I don't know. Mr. FedEx himself.
Yeah.
That, hey, like, it's different now. We just need you to call the plays. We'll take care of everything. We'll build you your team. You don't have to worry about helping with recruiting. Nothing. You just call the plays. We get you the pieces. You put them together. And so I think that's part of what's attractive to it. And I think Ryan Day could be he could be showing other power schools like how you can do this and it can work. Like it can plug and play pretty well. Because if you're a school like Ohio State, you have premier talent on your roster. So it's easier for you, I think, to just go out and grab Matt Patricia, plug, go, compared to a smaller school where development is a big thing at all schools, but a smaller school, the years where it's like, oh, you may actually be able to compete for something now. Other programs, it's like, oh, it's that year where like that one class you signed has now been playing for 3 seasons, compared to where like Ohio State at some level is always going to have some like premier talent on that roster cooking, so you can plug and play these dudes who can come in. That kind of goes back to where I was like, I think we'll keep seeing more of it. And it does come back to like, there's no limit anymore on the size of your staff in college football. So they have 1,000 dudes there who can worry about recruiting,
Yeah.
Because that's one of the big things for guys who go from the NFL to college is like, how can they recruit? They don't have to worry about that shit now. Just go and have fun. Call an offense,
Yeah.
Call a defense. Like Patricia, you kind of saw how it can work because he can come in there and run a college defense, but also mix in pro aspects to it. And you saw it week 1 against Arch Manning, like the way he was disguising his coverages. Arch would the second Arch snapped the ball, he was like, nothing looks the way it just looked. What is happening? And just roasted the poor kid. So I'm not saying it's easy. Anybody can be an NFL guy and go to college, but I just think it can. Ryan Day's showing how it can work, and it can be a sweet gig for these dudes as well because. Who do you like? Brian Hartline recruited all those receivers that have come out of Ohio State.
Mm-hmm.
That was their wide receivers coach. You got those guys to go do the recruiting. We'll bring you the paint. You use your brush to make the picture.
Well put, Mike. Well put. Well put on your final metaphor there.
I will say,
Okay, go ahead. Sure.
But I was going to be like Arthur Smith.
Just gonna think.
I think it's fair to say if you were going to describe Arthur Smith, what his strength is, it's running the ball.
I was gonna say the mustache.
Yes, within there, that's where he puts his run schemes. He hides them in his mustache.
Schemes.
And he pulls them out like a tiny little piece of paper, like thin piece of paper. So, and that's something at times Ohio State could have done better last year. But I would not say that Arthur Smith has shown to be great with passing concepts. However,
Yeah, I'd agree with
you're
that.
going to college. You have Julian Sand, who's a stud, and you have the best wide receiver in all of college football, one of the best players in all of college football, in Jeremiah Smith. Future ball. So if Ohio State's passing attack takes a step back last year, I think Arthur Smith should just go get a job at his dad's company.
Yeah.
I don't think it's for you, dude.
I'm gonna go out there to
I'm wishing
grab my
him all the
protein
best.
powder. When it gets delivered, it's gonna be Arthur Smith standing there holding the package.
Yeah. Also, fuck the Ravens. I'm just throwing this out there because it's college football adjacent. They stole Notre Dame's defensive backs coach.
Did they?
Yeah.
What's he doing on the
What did we
Ravens?
do to you?
Coaching, just cleaning up Mike McDonald's mess that he left 2 years ago, or
I guess that makes sense. Like Minter was in college with Harbaugh. He probably has dudes on the list that he remembers coaching against in college. So he's like,
what could possibly go wrong with hiring your entire staff from college ranked guys for the NFL? Mike, did you have any other quick hitting college thoughts?
No.
All right.
Everything that came to mind, I would hope to eventually stop being lazy and write an article about. So
Well, there you go. Mike hopes that one day he can do something that he has all the control over. Mike, we are
funny, Adam.
We're 10 days away from the Super Bowl, which means that we have to talk about the Super Bowl here. Next week's big Super Bowl week, but we got to have a Super Bowl segment on our football podcast for this week, no matter how much college we want to talk about. So I figured we'll get in there. We'll get in the lab. We'll get cooking. Let's just pick our Super Bowl MVP picks. How about that? How about that for you, Mike? Mike's stirring a pot.
Cooper DeJean.
Mike says Cooper DeJean, who I believe is currently sitting at home live streaming. Just kind of got a live stream face, you know? Yeah. Fucking losers. What kind of person live streams? Anyways, tune into our live stream tomorrow.
With special ghost.
Special ghost.
I'm not even going to make the joke anymore now.
Special ghost Casper. I'm glad I went that way, because right after I said Casper, I said, oh, I could have said Epstein.
Yeah, we don't want to do that.
Mike, the way that I pitch this to you is that we're going to pick one favorite, one dark horse, and one sleeper for Super Bowl MVP. Make the case for him. You want to kick or receive, Mike?
I'm going to go first. I'm going to receive it. You better believe it. I'm going to receive it.
Believe it.
We start with favorite?
Yeah.
I'm going to go with, I haven't looked at betting odds, so I don't know if do you mean favorite in that sense, or?
Yes, I did.
Oh.
I could tell you who the two favorites are if it makes you feel better. Although I bet you can guess
also,
them.
I'll throw this by you. Who are the top five?
Top five, if I am remembering correctly, are Darnold, May, Jackson Smith and Jigba, Ken Walker, and Ramondre? Ramondre might be fifth.
Yeah, there's no way the hell I'm going to pick him. So, all right, good. I figured the guy I was going to pick would be in the top five, so we can call him a favorite, correct?
Yeah, sure.
Okay.
I mean, one of my dark horses is in the top five, so.
Oh, all right. So there's no rules around here.
I at least have the odds written down, God damn it.
That's true, but I'm taking JSN, baby.
Jackson Smith and Jigba?
Jackson Smith and Jigba is about to put up a TO-like performance.
You know, T.O. lost in that performance.
I know, but I meant like how well he's going to play. And as long as Darnold doesn't pull a McNabb and slows him down and is rumored to be hungover.
I don't think Darnold's ever drank, so that's good.
Dude, me and Darnold we're red beard bros.
Yeah, just you two. No one else on this podcast. Yeah, Jeff Smith and Jigba, great call. The last two non-quarterbacks to win the award were both wide receivers. That was Cooper Kupp and Julian Edelman. So Jack Smith and Jigba would be the first non-white wide receiver to win the award in the last 10 years.
Wow. Sure they're going to talk about that on ESPN.
I'm just saying, put your money on Jake Bobo. They love to give that award to white wide receivers.
Mm-hmm.
Mike, my favorite, Samantha Darnold.
I thought it's short for Samantha.
I'm sure it's short for Samathan. Plus 110. Plus 110. Clear favorite. Here's why. Here's why I picked this, right? And here's why I suggest any of you idiots out there who bet on things like Super Bowl MVP should bet this. Plus 110. Like I said previously, 8 of the last 10 Super Bowls, the MVP was the Super Bowl, or was the quarterback on the winning team. That's typically who they hand out Super Bowl MVP to. I don't think that's a surprise to anyone. Currently, the Seahawks odds are minus 230 to win the game. So if you think the Seahawks are going to win the game, what's up?
I got the odds up now. You're in trouble.
Okay. If you think the Seahawks are going to win the game, just bet Darnold to win the MVP. 80% of the time, it goes to the quarterback on the winning team, and you are getting much better odds than just betting the Seattle money line. That's why my pick for Super Bowl MVP, Sam Darnold, because it's a good bet. That's just why. It's purely just a good bet.
If I can connect your bet to mine.
Because they both play on the same team and one guy throws the ball to the other one.
Yes.
I've connected
Now,
them.
obviously, this team is way different than week 1, but what if we get a situation like this? Darnold in week 1 threw 150 yards and Jigba caught 124. That's what it will take. A similar performance like that, it will take in Jigba to be over 100 and probably a tutty or two to win it.
Yeah, see, so I think a better example is the Julian Edelman Tom Brady win, or even the Cooper Kupp Matt Stafford win. So when the Rams won their Super Bowl, Cooper Kupp won Super Bowl MVP. I think that if JSN has, say, 75% of the yards, and the narrative is, wow, look at what JSN's doing out there, I think he wins. Right? Like, it doesn't even have to be week 1 where it's like Darnold underperformed and JSN performed like a fucking beast. It just has to be like, what if Darnold goes 225, 2 touchdowns, 1 interception, but both those touchdowns are Jack Smith and Jigba has 135 yards, 160 yards, something like that.
Yeah.
Like, I think at that point, because also, like, the narrative walking into this matters a little bit. Like, in the Cooper Kupp year, that was the year he won the Triple Crown. He led the league in touchdowns, receptions, and yards. So the narrative going in is, hey, Sam Darnold is like playing well, but come on, it's Sam Darnold. So I think if Sam Darnold plays like okay, doesn't cost them the game, but Jack Smith and Jigba plays well, then it fits the narrative to be like, JSN really won this game for Seattle, not Sam Darnold.
Yeah.
Mike, who's your dark horse? Your dark horse.
Which I define the difference.
I would define a dark horse as someone who you could picture winning the award, and a sleeper as being like, come on, what are you talking about here? Like, you really got to make a case for a sleeper. A dark horse, someone you can be like, okay, yeah, dark horse can win the award.
Okay, good. So my dark horse is a little man by the name of Rashid Shaheed.
So I have him as my sleeper. I think that there's an argument that he can be a dark horse. I had him written down as my sleeper, but I think there's an argument.
I think for him to do it, he's gonna have to do some damage there in the passing game. Maybe breaks off like a long end around tutty. But also, I think he'll need to lock it up. Is he's gonna need to take either a punt or a kickoff to the house like he did in his first playoff game.
Yeah, so that was kind of my argument for it too, right?
Mm-hmm.
Was just, I think that if you're saying Shaheed wins Super Bowl MVP, it's like a 1-score game and he takes a punt to the house.
Yeah, and then also has like a good chunk of yards from scrimmage with maybe another touchdown.
Yeah, and part of the problem is last week against the Rams, he had like 2 receptions, one of which he took 70 yards for a touchdown.
Yeah.
So it's not like he's getting a ton of volume thrown his way. So he's really got to do a lot with that. Like, if you look at the stats afterwards, and he has 2 touchdowns, and 100% of his touchdowns went, or 100% of his touches went for touchdowns, I still don't think he wins. Like, he'll have to get like 8-9 passes and have a punt return touchdown to win.
Yeah.
It's a lot to ask. A lot to ask of Mr. Shaheed, who is currently sitting at plus 5,000 to win this award.
I got him at plus 2,800.
What are you looking at? What book are you on?
let's see. This site is using DraftKings.
Can I ask you why you didn't just pull up a sports book?
Because of where I live.
Virginia doesn't have legalized gambling?
They do. I can't bet Super Bowl MVP.
Oh, interesting.
Unless it's not on FanDuel.
I'm looking at FanDuel app, and it's Raheed Shaheed at plus 5,000.
Okay.
So bet it on FanDuel and not whatever the fuck Mike's looking at.
Yeah.
My
this
dark
might
horse.
be an up-to-date article.
A much softer dark horse than yours. Ken Walker III plus 850.
Hell yeah. K9.
I think the case here, right? So Ken Walker, no one's been benefited more by Zach Charbonnet's injury than Ken Walker. Ken Walker is not like an efficient runner. Like he's had a couple of efficient games, but he's not like a grind out the 4 yards a carry.
Mm-hmm.
But if Darnold's all down his legs, like a 3-pick no touchdown performance by Darnold, but Ken Walker is the guy breaking off explosives, making the defense have to play wide, giving the Seahawks an opportunity, and the Seahawks win, they kind of have to give it to Ken Walker. Like he's the default backup. There's no one else. If Darnold is playing poorly and JSN can't save it because Darnold keeps throwing picks, there's no one else on the Seahawks offense you could give this to outside of Ken Walker.
Yeah, he's not like in the conference championship game. Like after I went back and looked at the box score, I was like, oh, I thought he would have had more yards because he doesn't like stuff it up, but he has those runs where you're like, oh,
yeah,
this man gets those like that extra yard or two, gets you all hyped. I love me some. Do you prefer KW3 or K9? Which is a better nickname?
I mean K9 would be a better nickname, but where does the 9 come from? Is that his jersey number? Oh,
Brady called him K9. I was like, kind of like that.
I don't love jersey number nicknames.
What if you change your number? Yeah.
Yeah. Exactly. That's my concern. If you change your number. It's just like I think that maybe I just don't like JD5 when people call him that for Jaden Daniels. But like jersey number nicknames are just never as cool as either like specific instant nicknames or play on people's name nicknames. Although I will say, you know what the worst nickname in professional sports that everyone uses in?
What?
Ant-Man. Terrible nickname.
Yeah, I wish there was a better one we could think of. I just say Ant usually.
Yeah, me too. Which is in itself a nickname. Like, have you ever met anyone named Anthony and called him Ant? No, he's the one.
Ant. He's the one. I like that too. That's pretty good. I wonder if McCarthy was watching that game and he heard Brady call Kenneth Walker K9 and he was like, "Hey, I'm 9. That's my thing." While he was practicing his 3-cone.
Yeah.
Or wait, what was it? 3-cone or was it like the back?
It was the 3-cone. It was, but you have to backpedal for the 3-cone.
That's right.
Mike, give me a sleeper.
Sleeper. A little sleeper.
And I'm going to switch mine since I had Raheed Shaheed and we already covered him. I'll pick a different guy.
Between two gentlemen here.
Mike doffed his hat in response to talking about who he's going to pick.
The last 2 championships.
Uh-huh.
The Kansas City Chiefs and the Philadelphia Eagles, each one, the MVP was wrongly robbed from a defensive back.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm just not going to stand for it anymore.
Okay.
So my dark horse is going to be a defensive back for the Seahawks. Question is, which one do I like?
Yeah, you'd probably want to go Witherspoon or Imanwari here, I'm guessing.
Those are the 2 I were thinking. It is funny that Ernest Jones actually leads the team in interceptions. Imanwari leads the team with an unreal 12 pass breakups. So you know what? Last year it should have went to a rookie in the mustard man, the Great White Hope, Cooper DeJean.
The Great White Hope.
So this year it's going to go to the Freak. Shout out to Bruce Feldman in the Freaks list. We're going to go Nick Imanwari.
That's Corey Pronoman. Corey Pronoman in the Freaks list.
I can already see it happening, right? Imanwari, lockdown coverage, lays the boom, and then they send him on that one blitz. He strips May. They take it to the house for a tutty. He's just wrecking shop. Pure havoc creator.
Well, here's where it's going to get started. Opening defensive play. Like after the opening kick, the Patriots have the ball. Opening defensive play, they're going to show you a split screen of Cam Chancellor and Nick Imanwari both on split right down the middle with Cam Chancellor on the right and Warrior on the left. And then it's just going to be in everyone's mind. They're just going to be thinking about Emin Warrior the whole time. Oh, hello.
Nick Chancellor, Emin Warrior.
Nick Cam Chancellor Emin Warrior. That's a good nickname. That's better than Ant-Man.
Dude, I know we got don't want to spend too much time here glazing Emin Warrior, but he is one of the
I fucking love him.
It doesn't happen often that a dude who came into the league where I'd say his draft profile was like, this dude's such a freak athletically that once he like picks up all the other things, he's going to be really good. And then he somehow like picked them all up in one offseason.
Yeah.
It's wild. You don't see it happen that fast.
He came in as like a productive college player, but more than anything, he came in as like this athletic specimen. Mm-hmm. And then not only did he pick up all of the stuff in one offseason, he picked up Mike Macdonald's complicated ass scheme as the piece that goes everywhere.
Yeah.
I'm going to do something bold for my last pick here, Mike. I'm going to pick a player who's not on the Seahawks.
I thought about it, but I was like, the only player I could see winning, if the Patriots win, Drake May wins MVP. You can't sell me on anything else.
Here's the case I'm going to make to you. What if we're concerned about the wrong thing here? Mm-hmm. What if it's not Darnold's turnovers? What if it's not Drake May's explosives? Mike was so shocked he lost a headphone. What if what we should be concerned here is this Patriots defensive line's incredible ability to cause fumbles and sow discontent in the backfield? So what if this is a thing where early on, Ken Walker has a fumble. There's a defensive line. There's a few tip balls at the defensive line. There's a Sam Darnold fumble caused by a defensive lineman. And it's Super Bowl 50 all over again. It's 2015 all over again, where the defensive line just disrupts the game to the point where you have to give it to someone on the defensive line. And Mike, who's the biggest name on the defensive line? But Milton Williams, sitting there at plus 20,000 to win Super Bowl MVP. Haven't had one since Von Miller. Don't know if Milton Williams has accounting stats, but that's where the strength of this defensive line comes from. And they embarrassed a strong Broncos offensive line last week.
True. It's true. I think Milton Williams is also big in just size in general, right?
Yeah. He's not just a big name. He's a big person.
Big person. Yeah. He's an interior defenseman who can get pressure.
Not a ton of it, but outside of what's his face? From the Rams way back when. What interior offense or defensive lineman ever does get pressure?
You talking about Aaron Donald?
Yeah, I kept thinking Aaron, but I couldn't figure out the last name.
I was like, this dude just forgot the name of one of the best interior defensive linemen of our generation.
He's an interior crocodile alligator is the way I would describe Aaron Donald.
Yeah. Their leading sack getter is Clavon Chaseholm, whose name I always like saying because it rhymes.
But how many sacks does he have on the year? Like 9?
12.
Yeah, that's like 9 plus 3.
Including the postseason. That's 12, yeah.
Yeah, which is just 9 plus 3. So there you have it. I would suggest everyone make a parlay with all of those Super Bowl MVPs. It will not pay out because that's not how parlays work, but I think it'd be fun to look at.
I will say this. One last thing on MVP. I don't know what I'll do if Stephon Diggs somehow won it.
I think you should probably try to steal Cardi B from him if that happens.
Might. Or I'm going to go become his personal chef and burn his eggs.
Well, then he's going to punch you or something. That just went away.
I'll be ready.
We just went, it's fine. Because Stephon Diggs is the locker room leader there, so we're fine with it.
Diggs looks like a guy who would have some freak offs.
Well, he was.
I'm not saying like
he was doing pink cocaine on a boat during the off season. So
yeah, so I'm not saying anything would be like unconsensual going on. He looks like he would just have very consensual, wild freak offs.
Yeah, like fingers and butts and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Mike, we got some coaching news in the dead period between podcasts, which is, I believe, how the media describes all period between Town Alone podcasts.
Yes.
I'm fighting through. My cat came to visit me, so now my allergies are going to try to kill me for the last 20 minutes of this podcast. But we got some coaching news to discuss here. First and foremost, Joe Brady promoted to head coach of the Buffalo Bills because Buffalo got rid of their coach because they didn't like how this team was functioning and said, you know who's going to make this team function better? One of the coaches from last year. It's starting to seem a little bit, and now I don't want to jump to any conclusions. It's starting to seem a little bit like Terry Pegula fired Sean McDermott without a plan.
You know the Donald Trump meme, not the meme.
I'm aware. I know the Donald Trump.
Yeah, they don't know what the fuck they're doing. That's terrible.
So here's what I'll say. First off, I love Phillip Rivers announcing that he is removing his name from consideration. Bro, you were never getting the job. I know that everyone's like, oh my God, Phillip Rivers. Who cares? Who cares who interviews? Like, if they fucking interviewed Colin Powell, I'd be like, okay, whatever. They're just interviewing people, man. But Phillip Rivers being like, it was my decision not to work there really got me.
Right.
The two names that it actually came down to, and we talked about this a little bit on Monday, but we didn't mention the two names that came out after the podcast were the people that it came down to. That were being strongly considered were Joe Brady and Brian Daboll. Mm-hmm. And the rationale I can figure out for why they didn't go Daboll is because Joe Brady's the mystery box and Brian Daboll's the already failed coach.
Yeah, Joe Brady could even be a Brian Daboll.
He could even be a Brian Daboll. Now, that joke's a lot funnier when you go from like Mike Vrabel to who'd they hire after Mike Vrabel? Who can you remember anymore in Tennessee?
Got shit canned, yeah.
Yeah. That you could be like, this coach could be anything. He could even be a Mike Vrabel. Like, it's not like Brian Daboll went off and set the fucking world on fire. Like, Brian Daboll was an okay to good coach at the best of times and a piss poor coach who did not understand how to keep his cool in the worst of times.
Yeah.
Like, his claim to fame is always going to be underperforming or performing slightly above expectation with Daniel Jones, making the playoffs and beating a bad Minnesota team that won too many regular season games. But then we saw Daniel Jones can go off somewhere else and also have success. So it's not like Brian Daboll is the only guy that can unlock him. So I get the rationale of going with Brady over Daboll.
Hold on.
I don't get the rationale of going with Brady over McDermott.
In Daboll's defense, as I remember he did that press conference when after they got rid of Daniel Jones, and he said, I just didn't like his Achilles. It looked weak to me.
He did. That's the one thing. You have to give Daboll credit. That guy can scout an Achilles like no one else. Yeah. That's why he got out of there before Malik Neighbors came to town. Oh, or did Malik Neighbors tear an ACL?
ACL. It was an ACL.
Yeah, that joke might not land. All right. Anyways.
Yeah.
Mike, you as a Buffalo Bills fan, what are your thoughts on new head coach Joe Brady?
Yeah, it's I mean, obviously you pointed out the thing that was everybody's first reaction was that Pagula fires McDermott because we had hit a proverbial playoff wall and we needed a new approach. And so he promoted a guy who was part of the wall for the last 3 years.
Oh, that'd be cool. What if they all start wearing shirts that say the wall?
The wall. So in that sense, it just looks confusing. I think if you remove that part, it's not a sexy hire at all.
Yeah, so Brady has had a lot of success where he's bounced around, but he's always also been working with some of the like premier quarterback talents in the league, so it's hard to tell.
Right. I mean, that's what got Brady some steam as a coach was he was passing game coordinator on that like freakish 2019 LSU team.
Yeah. So he went from LSU to the Carolina Panthers from 2020 to 2021. Mike, do you have a favorite offensive coordinator in Carolina from 2020 to 2021 memory?
Oh, was that post Newton or was that the very end of Newton?
I believe that was post Newton, but I'm double checking.
So who were they cooking with then? Dear God.
Let's see. Their quarterback was Teddy Bridgewater, who started 15 games, went 4-11, 340 completions, 3,733 yards, 15 touchdowns, 11 interceptions.
Mm. Yeah, their offense wasn't great, but then he gets to Buffalo, gets promoted after Dorsey gets axed, and luckily he had some good pieces to work with, a good offensive line, a good running back, and obviously one of the best quarterbacks in the world. I think I do wonder because it was known that Josh was apparently like sitting in on meetings. He was 100% a part of this process, which you can say that's a good thing or it's a bad thing. I don't hate it. I just hope that Josh was not only in there to see who he would work well with, but he also had like, I actually think it would be a good strategy for owners and GMs to do to have one player or even a couple of like the team captains who can kind of speak on behalf of the team and what they would like as a team.
Mm-hmm.
That's something that popped in my head when I heard that Josh was in the room. But so you do wonder how much, if he likes Joe Brady, has a good rapport with him, and that's why he also gave his nod of approval to him. That could be it. The thing about I shat on Brady a lot this year. Let's be honest. I can't lie. There's a track record of it.
Right.
Because, there's times of the year when he's in his bag in a game, he can call a hell of an offense. But there was times where I wanted to punch myself, or him really, but he wasn't around, so I'd be myself because of the way his issues. A lot of times where he would come out with no sense of urgency, and we'd fall behind, and then Josh would have to go Superman, and we'd make these big comebacks. Now, did we make the big comebacks because Joe Brady adjusted his play calling, or did we make big comebacks because Josh went Superman, chicken or the egg? Also, when you come out and your offense isn't immediately rolling, that tells me you have a bad game plan. Like, your scripted plays were not what they should have been, and that's a red flag to me. So now I'll give him the benefit of the doubt and say, well, let's see what he does when he leads this team. Because, yeah, he was calling the offense, but still leading up to the game, he's working with McDermott on how they want to attack things. He has to also listen to what his head coach is looking for. So we'll see how it changes without him. I don't love the hire. I am very cautious, but I will say this to finish up my to get off my soapbox, that we will know by week 8 if this is going to work. It will not take long. We will know halfway through next year if it was a mistake and we should probably cut bait after one season, or if this could actually work. We will know by halfway through the season.
So I will say this: one, there's no way they cut bait after one season. It would look terrible for a franchise or for an ownership group and for a GM and now president of football ops to fire the guy that they hired after they had made the playoffs 8 out of 9 years.
It's like
I mean, it took them way too long to fire Gerard Mayo, and Gerard Mayo was a disaster in New England. That's not going to happen in 1 year.
Gerard Mayo got canned after 1 year. What are you talking about?
Did he? I thought he was there for a year and a half.
No,
was it 1 year?
He did the 1 year after Belichick, and they canned him.
Props to Robert Kraft. That guy really knows how to end things right. It's
a 5-year contract too. What were they thinking?
It's a 5-year contract. Yeah, I don't think there's any chance he gets fired after 1 year, because it would look bad on a front office and staff that already looks bad. The other thing I'll say, and this is my new take that I'm sticking with from here on out.
Okay.
I don't trust a coordinator as a head coach if that coordinator was a booth coordinator.
Was Ben on the sideline?
Ben was a sideline coordinator.
Oh.
And in fact, his last season before getting promoted to head coach, he moved down to the sideline. That's where the whole piss pants thing started, because I was going to say he was going to hide behind Dan Campbell.
That's right.
So, I don't trust a booth coordinator as a head coach. That's my new take.
I don't hate that.
Doesn't know how to talk to the people. Wants to sit up in his ivory tower, look down and call plays and laugh and laugh and laugh.
I mean, maybe that's why Ben went down to the sideline. He wanted to get that more experience on the sideline.
And it worked.
Upcoming head coaching stint. I mean, I can get that.
Checking my notes here, it looks like there's still a chance that Caleb Williams could be the first USC quarterback to play in a Super Bowl.
Yeah. I prefer my OCs in the booth, personally.
I prefer my OCs in the booth, but I don't trust a head coach who is a booth coordinator.
Yeah. Interesting. That's what it goes. I will just say that I understand your thought process of they won't can him after 1 year, and here's why. And I agree, and that's how a lot of sports organizations would operate. I just hate when they do that, because it's you don't want to look bad for a couple months while you're looking for a new coach. So instead, you're going to waste another year of your team on a bad coach.
The good news for the Bills controlling staff there is they're going to look bad no matter what, because they already do.
Yeah.
Unless Joe Brady goes 11-0 to start the season, not going to look great. Which with this roster, that ain't happening, and the roster ain't Joe Brady's fault.
Yeah, I guess the one thing is, all right, the head coach search is done now, so we can now put all eyes back on Bean to see what the hell he's going to do come the beginning of the new league year.
I think Keon Coleman extension. Mike, the other big coaching news. Todd Monken has been hired as the Browns head coach, and a move that everyone went, really? Where'd that come from? I didn't even know he got interviewed. Now, I will say this. Mike, what has been the Browns' major problem for the last existence?
Offense.
Yeah. Todd Monken's time as an offensive coordinator in the NFL since joining the Ravens for the 2023-2024 season, they've been second in EPA per play. Now, they missed the playoffs this year. He got criticized because he relied too heavily on the pass in their playoff loss in 2024-25 season to the Kansas City Chiefs. But second in EPA since that time period. You can't argue with results. And if you already got a good defense, you already got the presumptive defensive player of the year and the presumptive defensive rookie of the year. Don't mind going offense at head coach. I mean, they just fired a guy who's offense at head coach, so I appreciate that they didn't just do the thing where they went, well, the offensive guy didn't work, so let's hire the defensive guy, and then that'll work. And then when that doesn't work, they go, well, let's hire the offensive guy because the defensive guy didn't work. They just said, who is the candidate we like best? Let's hire him. So what do you think, Mike? What do you think of the Todd Monken signing as head coach of the Cleveland Browns?
Oh, and he was with the Browns in 2019 as well.
Yeah, as like an offensive assistant. Yeah.
Oh, okay. And then he went to he went with the college route, this Georgia OC. Oh, that's right. Because he left Georgia in 2022, and then ever since then, people have hated what's his face, their current OC. Every year, Georgia fans just bitch about him.
Stetson Bennett is their current OC. Stetson Bennett.
No, it's also Bobo.
Jake
Bobo. Yeah, it's Jake Bobo.
Huh. Good for him. But Mike,
I'm making sure I'm not having a stroke. So prior to that, he was the OC of a 2018 Tampa Bay team, and Mike Bobo. I'm sorry, that was it. I was like, it's not Jake. And that team went 5-11. And he had Jameis Winston for 9 games, Ryan Fitzpatrick for 7. Obviously, Fitzpatrick, future Hall of Famer because of his beard. But I just say, what is he?
Because of all the cheating.
Fitzpatrick?
Yeah, just making Bill Belichick jokes.
Oh, okay. Will he be able to get offensive success with Shadur Sanders and not Lamar Jackson?
Pro Bowl quarterback, Shadur Sanders.
Pro Bowl quarterback, Shadur Sanders. Oh, wait. He was a grad assistant for 1 year at Notre Dame. I got to sign off on it now. He's going to be a great coach. I don't know. This was another not sexy hire.
Shot.
But also,
it's sexier than Joe Brady.
That's fair. Prior to the hire, there's been a lot of talk going on about, wow, no one wants to take the Browns job.
Yeah. Everyone took their name out of consideration.
Yeah. So once they were like Todd Monken, I was like, well, at least they got somebody to say yes. You got to call that a win.
And also, Todd Monken, never been a head coach before. So despite the fact that he's old, 59, for a first-time head coach, never been a head coach before. I think that's, I should say, never been a head coach at the NFL level. I have no idea if he's been a head coach in college. I'll say that that's at the very least.
He was.
At the very least, I appreciate them taking a shot on someone who hasn't had a chance in the seat to see what he can do.
Yeah, he was the head coach for Southern Miss for a few years.
Oh, I think that's the place Trinidad Chambliss is transferred to. Any more thoughts on Todd Monken, Mike?
He went 13-25 at Southern Miss. Nope, that was it.
Mike, it doesn't matter.
It's pretty bad.
Any more Todd Monken thoughts?
No, his name sounds like a Browns coach.
It does. If you had to give this hiring specifically only a thumbs up or thumbs down, nothing in the middle, what do you give it?
Oh, no thumb in the middle? I would say thumbs down then.
Okay. I'll give it thumb in the middle. I think that I'm waiting to see.
Wait!
The rules don't apply to me, Mike. I'm like the Bill Belichick of this podcast.
We talked the Stefanski hire already?
Yeah, when it first happened, when he got hired by the Falcons. I mean, did you have additional thoughts?
No, I just can't remember if we talked about it, but we didn't. You're
right. Mike, my final coaching question for you.
Yeah.
The Clint Kubiak sweepstakes are down to the Arizona Cardinals or the Las Vegas Raiders. Not because he's been linked to any of those teams yet, but because there's no teams left without a head coach. Who you putting your money on? Who is going to win Clint Kubiak, and who is going to have to settle for Chris Shula?
I think
that the more desirable job is the Raiders, right?
Yeah, because he is. I think he's going to be looking at a team that has Ashton Genty and is most likely going to have Fernando Mendoza. The offensive
draft.
What?
If they're dumb in the draft, Fernando Mendoza.
Yeah. And I think there's not a lot there at face value to look at the Raiders roster and be like, oh yeah, but I think there's a lot of opportunity there to build it the way you want to build it.
Yeah.
So I think that's definitely where he goes. I'm upset that the Bills couldn't interview him. That's what I would have wanted, but.
Well, I mean, what we saw from the other side of the interview process is no matter what, they were hiring Joe Brady. It doesn't matter what Kubiak said.
That's what it feels like now. That's how it shook out. But I guess it's because of like the weird rules about how far a team makes it into the playoffs, when you can interview him. Because there's one team that already interviewed him once, so they're allowed to do a second interview. But because the Bills didn't do their first interview in a certain amount of time, like a certain window of time, because we made it to the divisional round, we can't go and get our first interview now until after the Super Bowl. And so I think that's part of why. No, that's not why we went Joe Brady, but that definitely would have been a hurdle. But so that also makes me wonder, like, are the Cardinals and Raiders, were they just really buying their time because they want Kubiak, or?
It must be. I mean, we saw this with the Saints last year, where it was like an open secret that the Saints were going to get Kellen Moore because they hadn't signed a head coach, and it was, fucking February 3rd. Mike, that's all I got for coaching news. Anything else pop up?
Is that a red flag that Brady had 2 interviews with the Raiders and did get that job? Is that a red flag?
No, not necessarily. I mean, maybe they offered him the contract because the Raiders were saying, we're going to wait to interview Clint Kubiak and we'll get back to you. And so he just took the contract that was put in front of him.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah, it's true.
I got one other coaching news thing that I want to touch on here that I didn't write down that I think is odd. I just want to get your taste on this, and then I don't think we'll have enough time for Prospect Wordle, but I want to fuck's sake, Mike. I want to get your feel on this. So the Jets basically fired their offensive staff yesterday.
What?
3 weeks after the season. Though. But 3 weeks after, like, they didn't fire him coming out of the season. It looked like they were going to retain Tanner Engstrom. And then 3 weeks later, they fired their offensive staff. What is, like, your immediate conspiracy theory thought on what happened there?
They went on vacation?
Yeah, is that it? Or, like, did Woody Johnson go on vacation and just get back and go, well, we got to fire everyone?
Right. Or was it, like it's Woody Johnson's pretty old, right?
Yeah.
So it's like one of those, like, old man billionaire things where all of a sudden one day they're like, we need to do this.
Yeah.
And you're like, well, okay. We didn't talk about doing that before, but all right. Yes, sir, Mr. Johnson, sir.
It's got to be something like that. Like, there's no way Aaron Glenn just woke up on Monday and said, you know what? Get rid of the offensive staff that I hadn't fired yet.
I think the Jets should be on the short list. They should be on the short list for 2027 #1 overall pick already.
Oh, they are. They've got to be the favorite, right?
Yeah.
Like, if you were picking who was going to pick first in the 2027 draft, who would you guess?
Top 2 picks right now would definitely be the Jets or the Browns.
If I'm so I just pulled up the odds to win the Super Bowl in 2027, and I scrolled all the way down to the bottom. So the teams with the lowest odds. The team with the lowest odds is the Jets at 250 plus 250,000. Sorry, plus 25,000. I added a 0. Dolphins right below them at 225 to 1. Cardinals 20 to 1 or 200 to 1. Saints 175 to 1. Those are your bottom 4. So the Jets are already the favorite to be the worst team in the league next year.
For some reason, I just don't. You can make a good case, but for some reason, I just don't think it'll be the Saints with the worst record next year.
It's because you love Kellen Moore.
No. They also play in a good division.
You want to talk in a good division voice to tickle his gooch. All right, Mike, let's do Prospect Wordle.
Aw. All right.
What?
I was just kidding.
Mike, I don't know why I said your name. I'm going to introduce Prospect Wordle to the people that don't know what it is. If you're new here, fucking subscribe, fucking loser. Prospect Wordle is a game we play around these parts on Wednesday because Mike insists upon it, where Mike has 6 opportunities to guess a draft prospect for the upcoming draft that I've guessed ahead of time. Mike is so uninterested in this segment that he's checking his phone.
Sorry.
Before each guess of this prospect, Mike gets a hint. Those hints in order are their height and weight, projected draft day, class or times transferred, position, conference, and finally, their team if he cannot get it in 5 guesses. With that, Mike, are you ready for today's round of Prospect Wordle?
Yes.
There you go. Mike, this player, 5'10", 185 pounds.
5'10", 185. Who is Casey Concepcion?
No. Have we already had Casey Concepcion, or did you just guess him a lot?
I don't think we've had
We
him
got to keep
before.
a rolling list of this. I always have to search my notes to see if we've
Yeah.
already done this. 5'10", 185 pounds. Mike, currently, according to PFF's big board, this player is a day 2 draft pick.
Okay, shit. I knew what I was going to say if you said day 1.
You could say him anyways. I'll tell you it's wrong.
No. 5'10", 185?
5'10", 185, day 2 prospect. Which means that he is somewhere between the 33rd and 95th ranked player.
All right, so 5'10", 185, we're looking at, either way you slice it, small running back or
Are you
small
thinking
receiver.
offensive tackle? Are you thinking
Short running.
tackle
No, I
at
wasn't,
all?
but now that you've said that.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think what other running backs are in this draft, but I'm just so Jeremiah Love pilled.
Do you want to guess Jeremiah Love?
No, but I will go ahead and say I don't think he's this short. Maybe he is. Chris Brazzell.
No. Mike, do you want to know his current class or number of times transferred?
Number class.
5'10", 185, day 2 pick. Mike, this player is a senior.
Well, that changes the
Senior.
calculus.
Because now you won't guess any juniors or sophomores or freshmen.
Yeah, exactly. How did you know?
Do you think Isaac Newton, when he came up with calculus, went, that changes the calculus?
Let's go with national champion runner-up C.J. Daniels.
No. 5'10", 185, day 2 pick. This player is a senior. Mike, this player's position is cornerback.
I knew you were gonna say corner the second. I was like, I didn't think about corners.
5'10", 185,
sure.
day 2, senior cornerback.
I sure am a dumb bitch, aren't I? Day two corner. Let's
You doing
go
ASMR?
with them dogs. Dylan Everett.
No. 5'10", 185, day 2 pick, senior cornerback who plays in the ACC, Mike. The ACC. The ACC.
Go with one of the most litigious programs in the world right now. We'll say Duke corner Chandler Rivers.
Chandler Rivers is correct, Mike.
Yay!
You have Prospect Wordle in 5 guesses. That was the
That
most
sucks.
subdued yay that you've had on the Prospect Wordle.
Because I'm mad. I should 5'10" and 185. I should have dialed it on defensive back right off the start.
Yeah, instead of
I
guessing
shouldn't
so
have
many
gotten-
offensive tackles in a row.
No, I should have went down that wide receiver because like a 5'10", 185 wide receiver, like those are going to stand out. So
Yeah,
there's only
that's
really
Bryce
so
Young.
many options. Yeah, like I'm always surprised when I look at corner prospects where I'm like, Jesus, why is it like that? That's how tall he is. But like, yeah.
Well, with that, Mike, is there any final news items we need to touch on here? Big day for basketball news. Not much going on in the NFL world
Yeah.
as we all prepare. I'm not talking about Hall of Fame. I made my Belichick jokes. I'm
that
not going to sit here and
Eli
do a
didn't
Belichick thing.
Eli didn't get in again.
I think he just put himself in.
That was just
If you
interesting
go
with
in,
that news.
if you go in there, there's a paper mache bust in there. We're not talking about it. We're not talking about it. We can
Okay,
talk
say-
offline. We're not talking about it. God damn it.
The timing was just interesting because just on a recent pod you asked me, do you think he's a Hall of Famer? And then today, like the news dropped that he didn't get in again. I bet you his brother told him the news too. Peyton probably came to the house.
You're still
He's
talking
like,
about
guess
Eli
what?
Manning. That's not even the Hall of Fame news people are talking about.
Oh,
That's
really?
not even
What's
get the
news they're talking
SEO
about?
going.
What's the news they're talking about?
Belichick didn't make it.
What? Really?
Yeah.
He didn't. Oh, do you think like
He's won 10% of all Super Bowls and didn't make it.
Do you think he stole Jordan Hudson from Roger Goodell?
I think he stole a lot of credit from Robert Kraft
and Tom Brady.
Yeah, but we're not talking about it, Mike. You know why? Because it's dumb. The Hall of Fame's dumb, and I don't respect it if they're not going to put Bill Belichick in the first ballot. So fuck the Hall of Fame. I don't care anymore. Anything else we need to talk about, Mike?
Nope. The only thing I saw when I looked at my phone and you yelled at me was that Panarin's being held out for the rest of the time before the Olympic break.
Well, good thing this isn't Basky. Mike, we'll be back tomorrow, or if you hear this podcast on Thursday, we're streaming on Thursday. How about I just put it that way? We're finishing up our Pokemon series. We'll be back on Sunday. I need to talk to you about the timing on that, Mike, because I bought movie tickets. It might overlap a little bit with what we're doing. Let me check the right time. I'll get back to you. I'll get back to you. But we're streaming tomorrow, finishing up our Pokemon run, and having an additional stream on Sunday because they ain't no football, so we don't got to watch no football. I'll be back on Friday with Tyler Karkara of the podcast, talking basketball, including, I'm reading here, Giannis Antetokounmpo, who might get traded. Haven't heard of him. Hope he's a good player. Next week, Mike and I'll be back on Monday and Wednesday to preview the Super Bowl. Back on Friday to talk all the things. Artemi Panarin. Is there anything else that we need to plug? If you're listening to us on any audio platform, go ahead and give us 5 stars if that's the most stars you can give. If you can give more than 5 stars, for instance, if you're reviewing us on Cage Side Seats or whatever that Cage Match. Is it Cage Match? Anyways, if you're viewing us on that wrestling platform I was trying to make a joke about, give us 10 stars. You can watch us on YouTube at Talent Alone Podcast. That is also where we live stream and where you're probably watching this if you're looking at my face while I'm talking through these plugs. If you're not already subscribed, be sure to subscribe. As I say every week, don't ring the bell. No one wants push notifications. Push notifications are the worst. I don't want my phone to tell me anything that's happening ever. I want my phone to be a device purely for podcasts and book reading. And with that, Mike, would you care to give a Duke-based shutout on the way out the door? I said shutout. I meant shout out.
And shout out. Shout out to the Jacuzzi, Jaquez Moore.
Huh. The Jacuzzi? Oh, that makes it sound like
the Jacuzzi. Nah, let's go.
Is that the guy that's saying shot of whiskey?
I don't know.
It was a Shabuzi joke, Mike. Shabuzi.
Oh. We're going to let him know.